Hello and welcome, this is the Nuclear Rabbit and today I'm playing Classic, because I can. So first off, things are different in Classic. Oh my god, that inventory. As usual with a Barbarian, we start off by buying some scepters, because those just deal the most damage. And we start off perfectly fine by almost dying in the underground passage, and then I head towards the Countess, who does not drop runes in Classic, because runes do not exist in Classic. However, it's still the best place to level because there's so many unique bosses here. Like Viper Vexy, who kills Blaze. And then I find out I can't revive her, so you can run out of mercenaries in Classic. And you can't give gear to Classic mercenaries either. Also, this is really dangerous, I should not be standing here. My life total makes me cry. And when your life total goes like that, just leave the game. Don't be me, leave the game. And then we head towards the Ontario fight, which is just the same as on LOT. And then we have the horrors. Especially for Rasan, who dies. And Durga dies as well. Man, I am not good to my mercenaries, but luckily I'm rich, so I don't have to care about human lives. Anyway, I end up making a Tangerine Scepter for some damage. It's basically just re-rolling a magic weapon for some sockets and some damage. I end up finding a ring, it's a Nagel, it's attack rating. And then I almost die, and that is a problem, so I run away. But as long as it's not me, it's okay. And then comes the Duriel fight. Which is also just the same. The boss fights are all just exactly the same on Classic. The differences really are the resistances in the later difficulties. Your mercenaries. And there's something a bit different about Whirlwind, but we'll get to that later on in the video. Duriel goes down and I have never been this happy to find a Berserker's armor. Because armors do not get sockets in this game. So you can't like make a 2-socket flawed ruby or resistance armor or anything. It's not a thing. Meanwhile, I sneak into a cave and try to grab an eye. And then we look at the flux of the situation. Or we don't. And the council is just the same as on the resurrected version of the game, so LOD, whatever you want to call it. So we just punch them in the face and then they die. And just like in every other Barbarian run, when you have a fair fight, things take forever. And I end up finding another unique ring. Okay, so there's no charms and no class specific items. So what ends up happening is that you find a lot more things that can actually roll unique. And inherently you just end up getting more uniques that way. I found a lot of uniques in this run, way more than I usually do. And that's because I'm just not finding charms. I'm not finding like class specific items that can't be unique. I'm just finding things that can actually roll unique. And you get a lot more of them that way. And I do have to say though, fighting without charms, it's actually really nice. I had so much inventory space to pick up stuff. It was amazing. It's the Chaos Sanctuary where we ring a few bells. The Hell's bells, if you will. And then I make my version of a tall weapon. Because remember, no runes in here. And then we fight Diablo. Which is just the same fight as usual, so just dodge the lightning, make sure he's green or blue, it means he's taking damage. And run away when he tries to electrocute you, because that's not very nice of him. Who knew, the Lord of Terror, not a nice guy, who knew, who knew, who knew. Please don't fry me. But what I ended up finding the best way to play this is just going for the emulation of things that you do in the full game. So instead of a tall sword, you go for a emerald sword. Instead of going for like a stealth, you try and get some resistances of your armor. You try and get some FHR off your belt, like stuff like that. But your gear is a lot less important here, which makes for a much more fluent playthrough. You really see that they balance the game around classic, you can really tell. I never felt over leveled, I never felt underpowered, I never felt like I was really in trouble, I never felt like I hit a brick wall or anything in the difficulty. So this was actually a very, very enjoyable playthrough. When you think about it, if you kill Diablo on normal and then would head into Nightmare Act 1, like that feels very fluent. It's Act 5 that always feels like a huge difficulty spike, like the Ancients and stuff feels way more difficult, the Lister feels way more difficult, but if you just go into Act 1 Nightmare, you'll be fine-ish? I said fine-ish, not fine. And in Nightmare we once again just run the counters with weapons that I just bought from an NPC because I could and they were just the best thing I had. I end up respecking on level 30. Because people told me Whirlwind would be decent. And I'm curious about that. Because Whirlwind on Classic hits every frame. Yes, you heard that correctly, every frame. Every frame. Which means it's kinda good. Yeah, that's kind of insane. Also, I find 2 pieces of Saigons in the span of 15 seconds. And Saigons is just super endgame GG gear in Classic. Because one thing that's also not there is mid-level or high-level uniques. They're just not there. There's no Warhead, there's no lore. You know what you want? Saigon's Helm, it's the best. Wanna know what the best weapon is for a Barbarian? A rare Martel de Fer with some enhanced damage on it. I'm not even joking, it's the best weapon. I googled it. Anyway, I'm just fast forwarding through Nightmare because it felt like I actually played at this pace. Until I hit dolls. Dolls are really terrifying because if you're hitting at 1 frame, dolls explode way faster than you want them to. But the rest of the game on Nightmare is just complete fucking cakewalk, it's insane. I mean, look at this. Bye Diablo. The one thing that also happens when the best gear in the game just doesn't really exist is that the best farming spot in the game is Mephisto on normal. Do you know how easy it is to farm Mephisto normal? Also, you can't gamble mid-level items. You're gonna gamble pikes, you can't gamble a lance or a Martel de Fer, you just can't. As I mentioned, classic resistances way less nerfed. And then we had towards Corpfire, who is the first physical immune that we really need to kill. And as usual, it takes forever. And I decide that my damage is too low and that I need a better weapon. So I go to the lower course in Nightmare to find a magic lance that I do end up finding. Once I see it, then pick it up. And look at how much inventory space I have. And I just start re-rolling it. And I end up getting this brutal lance with 48 ED. I just end up putting perfect skulls into it. The perfect skull allows me to not use my Manalt, so I can use my Cathan's ring, because that's just GG gear. I respec because I want the spear mastery. So this is what I spec into. And then I farm the lower course some more for a flawless skull, but I end up getting a goddamn Stone of Jordan. I'm not joking, I found the Stone of Jordan. Just casual stuff. And if you're thinking like, are you using that on a Barbarian? It means resistances, critical hit, attack rating, everything you want. A soy gives you. And I also find a perfect skull. And now I have a 48 ED, double perfect skulled lance. And that weapon combined with the science gear is GG. Like, that is just end game gear for classic. It's so cool. There's no like, I need to find a war bike, I need to find this, I need to find that. Just find the lance, go to fucking town, beat the game. It's just that. It's great. It's so sad that if you got a 1-frame Whirlwind in the complete game with like Breath of the Dying and stuff, it would be way overpowered, because this felt really fun. I had so much fun doing this run. Also, another mercenary bites the dust. And then we head towards the Maggot Lair, where things are things, and I'm just kind of sad. But you do manage to get through it with some nice aiming of your whirlwinds. Yeah, please don't get stuck. So basically just clear things out and, well, don't do this. I'm stuck, I can't leave the game, I can't do anything. So I want to leave this place and I end up whirlwinding through. Until I hit some weaklings and I am very powerful again. But this Barbarian did something no other Barbarian a casual playthrough of a solo self-found run has ever done. This Barbarian felt very powerful. This felt like on the power level of a Blizzard Source or a Hamilton. So I can highly recommend playing Classic with a Barbarian. And there goes Duriel. And there go the rules. And this is me showing off. This is the one downside to the character. This is how long it takes to destroy my weapon. Yep, 30 seconds and I need to repair again. But after that we do head towards Travancore as usual. And from here on out the game is just the same until I hit Act 4 Hell Diablo. Luring the council out as usual. Don't have to worry about leaving behind your jar rune, because there's no runes in the classic game. And even in Hell Act 3 you can see how powerful I am. Even the runs of hate is not a problem. Except for dolls. Because dolls are absolutely terrifying. If I press Whirlwind here, I'm dead. One frame per attack kills all the dolls, which kills me. So I need to leap through. Until I hit Mephisto. Who, as you can tell, even with the random council member just showing up, is just not a problem. And there goes Mephisto. And after Mephisto I figure like, okay, I'm just strong enough to beat the entire game, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna run towards the end. So I just whirlwind through Act 4. Ring the doorbell. Kill the idiots that it spawns. This is the most powerful Barbarian I've ever put through the game. I mean, there's no way a solo self-found full game expansion Barbarian, especially with fucking Whirlwind, goes through the game this fast. It's just not gonna happen. That made this so enjoyable. Like, you're playing a Barbarian and you have a very consistent pace of play. Instead of, okay, I killed a thing, I need to repair, I need to buy pots, I can kill one more thing. Instead, you're just like actually doing stuff and it's amazing. I mean, look at that damage. This is nice. This is just nice. Like, it isn't even overpowered. A Hammered In or a Blizzard Sword is still faster. Or a Mosaic Sin is way faster even. But this is just nice. You're actually playing a Barbarian and you're getting through the game at a very, very reasonable pace. Like, this feels like an A tier character for the expansion. However, you can't really do Act 5. And here we have the actual final boss of the game, the Infector of Souls, because this is the hardest fight I had in the entire game. Because things got really close here. Like, I needed to be very careful here. But I do end up making it to town and then I'm just whirlwinding again. And here's the final fight of the game. This is Diablo. And I'm just chunking him and it's so satisfying. A classic Barbarian is just super satisfying to play. Can highly recommend. You don't need to farm Eldritch. You don't need to farm for the Ancients. You don't need to get to level 60. You don't need to find a good weapon. Everything is just balanced around being like this and it makes the game go by very smooth. I honestly thought Classic was a much smoother experience than the expansion. And there we have it, Diablo goes down. And here's my gear, like in LOD or whatever you want to call it, Resurrected, this will be a load of crap. Like the only good item would be the SOJ. And this easily cleared the game, like no problems. And it was very satisfying, can highly recommend this, honestly I can. Here's my stats, and here we have the way cooler screen that you've beaten the game. I am the king of Classic. Thank you for watching, see y'all, bye bye, GG, see you for the next one.